Rolling down the boulevard in the speedboat Corvette, like a tail on a tornado ring to promise soaked in sweat. One hand on the glass pipe, the other on the wheel. Devil riding shotgun, singing, boy, let's make a deal.
This is Groundless, a Justified podcast. This is a podcast where we watch every episode of Justified and then come on here and talk about it. I'm Chris. That man is Randy.
Hey, tell me that we don't have a cabal of Satan worship occultists that rule Hollywood, and tell me that's not true.
I think it's not true, but whatever.
Okay, whatever. That's not what the internet says.
So we are we're here this week, and we're back, and I have to apologize for uploading the last episode of the podcast a little bit late because I was on vacation in Hawaii and wasn't really thinking of you guys too much, but we got it up there, and now we're here this week to talk about season 5, episode 5 of Justified, an episode called Shot All to Hell. This episode originally aired, let's see, when did that originally air? February 4th, 2014 was the original air date of this episode. And our synopsis: Raylan's secrets are at stake when a mob revenge plot descends upon Kentucky, and Boyd's recent successes are tempered by a crushing defeat. And this episode, written by Chris Provenzano, who we are well familiar with, and directed by Adam Arkin, who has an appearance in the episode as well as one Theo Tonin, his final appearance in an episode of Justified. And so yeah, that's Adam Arkin. And so let's look at our guest stars this week, because we have a couple, and we have one that actually has a little bit of overlap. It's funny, we have many of you who listen to this show listen to our between seasons special that we do, and this year we did the more recent version of 310 to Yuma in between seasons 4 and seasons 5 of this podcast, and in 310 to Yuma, Alan Tudyk is the doctor character who becomes part of the posse and eventually gets shot towards the end of the, spoiler alert, towards the end of the movie. And so we kind of did his guest star kind of credits already. So check out that podcast. It's our season 4, episode 13 special podcast, and you can get Alan Tudyk's credits. Of course, you've seen him in a number of things, including Firefly, probably what he's best known for. But he plays
great show.
Fantastic show. Only got one season. Yeah. Fox aired the episodes out of order back when that was an okay thing to do on TV. Like, I was just talking about this with Rachel earlier this week, because there's so much stuff out there now. And we were watching football, and during football, there was like an ad for Young Sheldon or something like that. And she goes, "Aren't you excited? Young Sheldon's coming back?" Very sarcastically, because neither one of us watch Young Sheldon, of course. And so I said, there was a time not that long ago, probably 10 years ago, where I would see an ad for Young Sheldon and I would get pissed, because I would see Young Sheldon as a missed opportunity for something that was actually good to be put on television. That show's on television, and that means that some other show like Community, Community struggled for years to try and, get traction with ratings and viewers and everything else. And so you look at a Young Sheldon and you're like, oh, that's taking up the airspace that could be for something that's actually creative and actually innovative, like a show like Community or something like that. But now I don't get upset with that anymore, because anything that anyone wants to make, we can make it. There's so many streaming networks and so many opportunities to get that content out there. And there's so many original series that the tricky part now is weeding out the crap from the good stuff. as opposed to being worried that there's good stuff out there that's not getting made.
Some hidden gem.
Yeah, exactly. It's a completely changed the landscape of television. It makes me very, very happy because the stuff that I tend to like, the stuff that, like Justified was definitely a popular show for FX, but never got numbers. If Justified had been a network television, it would have been canceled after one season. It wasn't giving enough numbers. And so, the stuff that I like tends to be the stuff that doesn't have that kind of mass popular appeal where 15 million people are tuning in every week to watch it.
Just like that show Firefly and that movie Serenity that, Firefly, I think they did try to market, if I remember correctly, they did try to market it, and there was a big, I think there was even like a Super Bowl ad or, and it just didn't catch on, but until after it was off the air, I think. And who knows if that's because of what it was up against or whatever, it was airing at a time when people didn't really have DVRs or at least they weren't, wildly popular. And they were expensive. Like TiVo was, an expensive box, and then you had to pay a monthly fee on top of it. So, actually now that I'm thinking about it, because I got a free subscription to Sirius for a few months for a trial, and I was like looking through I'm like, none of this is appealing to me. Not that I don't know. Do people even listen to Sirius, XM anymore?
I do. I mean, when I got my new car, I got, like 6 months free or whatever. And I listened to it then. I don't buy it now, although I've contemplated it, but my commute's so short that it's not even kind of worth it for me to have something like that. But I do like it. I do like having just, because when you turn on the radio, you just get commercials, basically. If you've got a 15-minute drive, the odds are that you're going to be spending 10 of those 15 minutes listening to commercials. And so that's great. But, streaming or casting from your phone or whatever is great too. But again, like I listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff like that. And so if I'm getting in the car for like a short drive, like a 10 or a 15-minute drive, I don't really want to listen to a part of a podcast for that long. I'd rather just listen to a couple of songs and get to where I'm going. And so that's where I find Sirius XM is really nice is, you can just flip it to, Lithium and listen to, Alice in Chains 3 times in 15 minutes if you want. It's
Okay. Yeah. Cause I don't know. I mean, I got that. And then I have like the podcast thing. I listen to my podcatcher or whatever. And then there's also I get like this Apple service music or whatever that I subscribe to. But I don't know. Maybe it's just me because there's nothing on XM that not to trash XM. It's just I just don't think that there's anything for me for that. So I was just wondering if people, because there are so many different platforms now. I mean, there's I can name off the top of my head, maybe 4 or 5 music platforms where you can get basically the same music.
Yeah.
Just off the top of my head. So I was just wondering if that was still a thing with XM.
I think it is. I think they're doing okay. I don't think they're struggling particularly hard. I know like DirecTV is really struggling because people are just cutting away and going to streaming services. But and they've been mismanaged for years now by AT&T before they were spun off. Yeah, but. And so I will talk bad about AT&T as opposed to XM anytime you want to. I think that there's still kind of a place for it in the car. And I don't think that Spotify, like radio, like if you do the radio service on Spotify or on Apple Music or whatever, give me songs or Pandora, give me songs like this song that I like. I don't think it's good enough or quite has enough variety to kind of replicate what you can get with a radio station on Sirius XM. That's kind of my perspective. That's my perspective on it anyway, but I don't know. But obviously it's not worth $12.95 a month for me, so I'm not. Yeah, I don't have it.
I know, because you can subscribe to so many networks now. You could get like a bill for like $100 or what, even more probably if you subscribe to every single service.
Well, I'm gonna be cutting the cord here in after football season's over, since DirecTV is losing Sunday Ticket. And
are you?
Yeah, and so I've got to start looking at, okay, what streaming services do I need to subscribe to? All this stuff. So
how so they're losing Sunday Ticket. So what's going to happen? Are people going to be like limited to their region?
No. Sunday Ticket, it's down to, I think, like Google, Apple, and Amazon or something like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, they're just trying to negotiate a new contract.
Yeah. And the question is it going to be one provider? Will it be multiple providers? Will they be able to offer competing services? What, the NFL, they're not going to be happy until they have all of the money, like all of it. And so that's what's going on right now is Apple, Amazon, and Google are tripping over themselves to see who can pay the NFL a few $1 billion for the rights to Sunday Ticket.
Isn't that crazy? Because I remember when Sunday Ticket got they bid or whatever, and it was like billions of dollars, I think, like way back when. It has to be like, what, more than 10, 15 years ago now, right?
Oh, it's like 30 years now, I think. 25, I think actually, it's 25. Yeah, they're celebrating like their 25th anniversary of Sunday Ticket.
Oh, okay.
So 1997, I guess it would be.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So it's wild. And I think the last time DirecTV re-upped, it was like 3 years and it was $2 billion or something like that.
That's crazy. It's insane, man. I just can't stand like 10 people. Like, this is me. I'm like sitting there, 10 people like standing in line at a desk or sitting at a desk talking about football. It just bugs me.
Well, that's why Sunday Ticket's nice, because you don't have that. You don't have like the 12 guys sitting there talking about like, oh, how many guys do you guys need to field an entire football team to have a pregame show?
That's right.
They have the fake field, so they might as well have a full team.
Oh man, that's just terrible, dude. I just can't stand. I you know what? I just like trash the NFL. I just sit here the next 10 minutes trashing the NFL.
Yeah. Well, the NFL's got some issues.
I know.
I love the product that they put on the field, though. So.
Yeah. I just, well, I don't know. Maybe we just like get back to
our other guest star this week. Yeah. After that little 10-minute diversion, our other guest star this week, what got us down that path was talking about Alan Tudyk, by the way.
Yeah.
But Mickey Jones is our other guest star this week, who passed away in 2018. Speaking of passed away, we got to touch on something else, but let me get through Mickey Jones here first. Hot Rod Dunham. So Rodney Hot Rod Dunham, his name, the actor's name is Mickey Jones. He passed away in 2018. He's been in a bunch of stuff. You probably remember him from Tin Cup or Home Improvement. He was in 13 episodes of that. National Lampoon's Vacation. He was one of the guys who, I think he was the guy who, after they towed the family truckster, after he did the ramp, like the ramp into the desert thing. Yeah. They tow the family truckster and the mechanic, and he asks him, how much is it? And the mechanic is holding the big wrench, and he's like, how much you got? and he says, well, no, how much is the bill? And he says, and I'm asking you how much you got. And he cleans them out for the for four bald tires and something and a tank of gas or something. But
I just love that visual from the movie of the wheels like out of balance. It just made me laugh so hard. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, when they're wobbling away. Yeah. No, it's awesome. So that's Mickey Jones, and a couple other things he was in. He was in Workaholics, which it was only one episode, but it was memorable, and that's a great show if you haven't checked that out. Jag, Boy Meets World, and he was in Boy Meets World twice as two different characters, which is one of my favorite things. And he did the same thing in Baywatch. He was in Baywatch twice as two different characters. So he's he's a multi-winner on that front. So pretty cool.
They put him in the red Speedo.
Yeah. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that? His ginger hairy body in a red Speedo. Just disgusting.
That's like that Borat movie where I forgot what his name was. Him and Borat were wrestling.
Oh
like,
yeah.
my
Oh
God.
yeah. The big guy. Yeah. This producer.
Yeah. Oh man. All right.
Okay. All right. Well, that gets us through our episode basics. But before we step into the